So you want to get into acting, no matter what you are, or who you are, or how old you are. You decided that you clicked on this video to learn about auditions or how to be an actor, whatever. I am Killian, and I am a 14-year-old boy. I've been doing acting for about 8 years now, since I was around 6 or 7 years old, and I do have some experience in auditions, acting, and all of these tips. So for this YouTube channel right here, I'm going to be talking about that. I'm also going to have another YouTube channel where I will talk more about politics. This will be a non-politics channel at all. So if you don't want it, you're not into politics at all, you don't need to go to that channel, right? Anyway, hi, I am Killian, and I'm an actor. So I decided to start this channel because I just wanted to show people, especially new people into theater, how to get into shows, how to nail your auditions, and all of the above. Now, I'm not really in a show until December. I'm going to be auditioning for my first high school show in September, which I don't think I'll get a lead, but you know, it is high school, so freshmen don't really get leads. However, I think that there's no such thing as qualified for being an actor, because it all depends on if you're locally doing theater, school theater, shows, movies. I mean, I've never been in a show or a movie, but I've been in plays and musicals locally and in my school. So right now, this video, so that's a little bit about me. Again, if you link in description below to my politics channel, which will be a podcast that will be a little bit longer content, and also obviously way different than this channel. So how about you guys hit subscribe if you want to see more acting. And yeah, so this video is my first video, and I want to make it an easy video for me so I can put it out there really quickly. Now, you could go into an audition really prepared, but your confidence is probably the most important thing to an audition. Now, I don't think you guys understand this, though. I feel like confidence is better than being prepared, because if you're prepared and you're nervous, you're going to stumble. I mean, I've been to auditions, and they're public speaking. You're speaking in front of 3, maybe 4 people that are literally judging you, and they have to judge you if they want to give you an actual role. But you know, it's just people go in nervous. Now, don't be nervous. That is the number one tip for auditions. And you're like, Killian, how am I supposed to do that? I mean, I'm all around nervous. Like, I'm speaking to not only 3 or 4 people that are judging me, but if this is in an auditorium, which it usually is for high school, middle school plays in a musicals auditions, it's not a private room most of the time in high school and middle school. This video will be mostly about how to audition for your first high school or middle school play or musical, or if you're trying to get a lead, maybe you've gotten into the play or musical before, or you've auditioned for it, but you haven't necessarily gotten a great role that you want, or you just haven't gotten in. So that's what we're going to be talking about mostly today. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Let's say it is September, and how about this, because my school does the play first before the musical. Usually either a school will do 2 musicals, or 1 play and 1 musical. It's very rare for a school to do 2 plays. So let's say you're auditioning for a play. I'm more of an actor, by the way. I'm not the best at singing. That's what I'm trying to go. I do private lessons for singing this summer, and it's super fun, whatever. But I'm definitely not qualified for that. If I'm not qualified for giving you acting advice, I'm definitely not qualified for doing singing advice. So we'll do acting. Now, to start, usually, especially for high school and middle school, your first audition is the most important. If you are a freshman, or if you just started middle school, and this is your first audition, again, with new directors, new choreographers, whatever you're doing, This is your first impression, and you need it to be the best impression. No pressure, but that's just how it is. I mean, even if you're not a freshman, even if you're a senior and this is your first ever play you're doing, this is your biggest audition you will have in that school. And the reason by that is because they know you then. They know your talents. They're not, once you're in sophomore and junior, if they have a role for you, you still have to audition and you still have to be prepared for that audition. However, it's easier, quote unquote, for you to get that role because they already know what role they're probably going to give you. That's usually how directors in middle school, at least from my experience, and high school do things, is that the first audition is the biggest audition, and then they'll use that audition to help show you the way, help give you a role, or a role that you won't have, how they see you. Let's say, how about your first audition, you're really funny, they're probably, for your entire years of high school, middle school, they will give you a role, more comedic role. That's kind of what they did to me. I think I had a really funny audition when my first musical audition for Beauty and the Beast Junior back in 6th grade. Now, it was really funny, and I did have a few laughs during callbacks, but that set up the plate, and I was funny characters for the rest of my school career, right? So that's one thing, is that the first audition is your biggest. Now you're saying, Killian, you're saying to be confident, but then you're putting all this pressure on me. I'm not putting pressure on you. This is the biggest. However, you want to show that you're confident during this audition. If you go in there and you aren't projecting, or you're not cheating out, or doing things that actors have to do, or you're not showing personality through that audition, then you're probably not going to get the best roles throughout your entire career. And I know there is no small roles in theater. However, most people don't think that way. And clearly, there's a lot of people out there, myself included, that would rather get a lead than ensemble or nothing at all. And ensemble is probably the backbone to every production. And I want to give a thanks to them. I've been ensemble before, and without ensemble, no show ever. But everybody in the entire audition that's serious about theater is going for that lead, and that's just the situation that you're in. I'm gonna say that, and I'll be honest here. I will say that, and then once my next audition, I'm going to be focusing on getting that lead. Again, I probably won't get that lead because I'm a freshman, but that first audition, so even if you don't get a lead the first time, that it will show you how you are, and that once you become a sophomore, junior, senior, or 7th grade or 8th grade, whatever, it gives you that little extra boost because they know your talents. The first audition, even if you get ensemble that first time, and you're like, oh, I suck, that was terrible. No, you did not. No, you did not. Absolutely not. No, you were fine. You probably were fine, and as long as you showcase personality, showcase confidence, and showcase projection, they're going to use that tips, they're going to use that talent, and they're going to see that in the next auditions, okay? First audition, they might not even give you, they will give you a role, but they might not give you the best, they will give you ensemble, okay? That's just, it's sad that, it's sad for the first few times. I've been there, trust me. However, it shows them. It shows the directors something. That's what I'm trying to give you guys right now. Now, how should you impress the directors for the first audition? This is the first time they're going to see you performing, doing theater, okay? How are you going to go in there? First off, be prepared and be confident. Those are the two biggest keys, okay? And then, especially a month before the audition or a week before, whatever, you want to sit there and you want to think, who am I as a person? Because that could be perfect for roles, not only for that show, but for throughout your entire career with that director, okay? So what am I good at? I'm good at sports. Maybe if we're doing like High School Musical or something, then I'll be more of a sporty person. Maybe I don't even know if it's again, if it takes place in high school, more of a jockey person, or the school big football star, because that's almost every high school plot, you know. Maybe I'm more of comedy or funny. Well, then maybe you'll be a jokester, the little sidekick that's super funny, like LeFou, or I don't know, Grimsby or something like that. The funny sidekick to a main character or main villain. That's what, and that can show you for the entire career. That's very important, is to showcase your personality so they can connect those with the characters, not only for that show, but for your throughout your entire career with them. That is very important. Now, you could show a lot of personality. However, if you're not prepared, then you're not going to get a great role. Okay, I will tell you a story. A few years ago, I was auditioning for The Little Mermaid. And I'm not going to tell you if this was school or locally, but this was like my second or third time working with these directors, right? Now, I came in there and I thought that I was a perfect fit for Scuttle, okay? And now I was facing this one other person during that, and I knew during callbacks, and I was facing her. However, I wasn't prepared. I did not memorize the song, and it kind of sucks. We only had a few days. However, I wasn't prepared, and she memorized the song. She ended up getting Scuttle because I messed up a few lines. Now, I still got a pretty decent part. I actually got Grimsby during that production. However, because she was more prepared than I, she had that advantage. She could not only was she more prepared, and that's a really good look to the directors, that is also it was not only showing the directors that she's going to be prepared, however, it's also letting her show her comedic personality. That's how she ended up with Scuttle. It was perfectly executed by her. She was prepared, and she showed her personality. She was also confident on stage. That's another thing. You have to be confident. Again, if you're not confident, then you're definitely not showing personality, and you're probably not prepared. Even if you're prepared and then you're not confident, you're not going to be able to show your personality. Your personality will shine through. I promise. Your personality will shine through if you are confident enough. If you come in confident. It could be scary, and it is. I'm nervous. Nervous and confident are two totally different things. You could be nervous and confident at the same time. However, you can focus in on the confidence. You are going to do okay. You don't say, I'm going to get this role. Don't say that, because then you can end up really disappointed in yourself. However, say, I've got this. I'm going to do good. I'm going to show the directors that I'm worthy of this role, okay? That is your really big thing. Now, those are the easy tips. That is how you can master your audition. Make sure you're prepared and memorized with everything, no matter what. The one time I wasn't, I made a mistake, and it cost me, okay? So, those are the easy things that you're going to master your audition. Now we're going to get into the little tricks, okay, you can do with the directors. So, there's usually an audition form that you either do during the audition or you do right before, and then you have to hand it in during the audition. Usually, even in high school or middle school, right? And then during locally, they can also ask you that. One of the biggest questions is, what roles do you want? Now, it's not about want. Let's say I wanted the main role, but I knew I wasn't fitting in personality-wise. It's a prince. I'm not a prince. I'm not nonchalant or whatever. I'm funny. I think I'm funny. The directors obviously think I'm funny. I've been into comedic parts throughout my entire career with them. Now, you want to put roles that fit you best. And you also want to put roles that other people might either not know of from that musical or play, or that won't want them as well. Or not want, but won't consider them as well. about a year ago, I did Into the Woods. Okay, I really wanted to be in this musical, and I knew that it was going to be very tough because this was locally, and it was with high schoolers that are years older than me. Right, there was only a few middle schoolers as well, so I knew that I had to get an edge. I also was very prepared for that audition. I promise you, I spent weeks preparing for that. However, the one thing I got is that I saw what are the 3 top roles that you want. First off, I put the baker, and then I put something else. I put Jack. I think I put Jack. Okay? But for the final one, I did Rapunzel's prince. Now, that gave me an edge. Nobody else, probably nobody else did that. They might have put Cinderella's prince, but they never, some of them don't put Rapunzel's prince. Now, when they're looking through for that character, that's not necessarily the biggest for the plot. However, it's good lines and very funny. So, not only that it shows my personality, which I've shown through previous auditions and performances, because by then I've been performing with this director, it not only shows that, but it also gives me an edge because they're like, who do we want to put for Rapunzel's prince? Well, why don't we do Killian? He's the only one that wanted to be him. And also, he shows personality-wise, he could be more funny and comedic. That is an edge you can get. It might not be the most ethical, or it might not work on some directors, but it's worth a shot, okay? It's worth a shot doing those tinier roles or smaller roles, and at least you have that, and it can set you up, because then you can use that performance, do it greatly, because it's easier material, it's less material that you need to memorize, you perfect it, you do well on that performance, it sets you up for your entire career with that director. Now, we're getting into the end of this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, on this channel, I will be vlogging. I will be doing these videos a lot. I'll at least try to do 2 per week, tips on acting. And I will also be doing vlogs if I'm ever in a show, maybe this summer. Maybe I audition for a local theater and get in. Maybe I'll do a vlog for a show or whatever. Do vlogs for games that I'm going to, sports stuff. I don't know if you guys would want that. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I will be putting my first video up on my other channel, which will be a podcast for politics. It's going to be called The Right Corner, and I hope you guys enjoyed this watch, and I will see you in the next upload, which will be, I'm going to try to do 4 or 5 uploads a week on this channel for the summer. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.